success with that, still received a considerable amount of resistance. From that, we had to call on our partners from the Sheriff's Office and the Florida Highway Patrol, rapidly responded to our aid, and with their help, we were able to clear that intersection and break up those cells of, quite frankly, wrongdoers that were engaged in criminal activity that seemed to work very hard to put a poor spin on the good demonstration that we'd seen earlier that day. With that, I'll turn the mic over to Sheriff Judd. Sir.
Thank you, Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, I was here as a support to the Chief. Our deputies were here as support to the Chief. Clearly and unequivocally, as a law enforcement community, we want to say first and foremost that the death of George in Minneapolis at the hands of that police officer was outrageous. Had that police officer done here what he did there, he would have been locked up in the county jail by sundown. But Minneapolis is not Polk County. Atlanta's not Polk County. Los Angeles is not Polk County. And I want to say unequivocally that the community here has been absolutely, totally wonderful. The protest at Munn Park is a good thing. People have the right to express themselves, and we expect them to do that in a peaceful manner. But please understand, let there be no misunderstanding at all, that if you come here to riot, to loot, to injure people, we're going to lock you up in the county jail before quick. And it's not one agency or the other, but it's all of us working together. Now, I want to show you the picture that I brought today. This is an organized rioter. This person did not come to Lakeland yesterday to exercise his First Amendment rights. If you notice and pay close attention, this guy has a professional mask on, professional clothes that are clearly designed to seal out pepper spray or any chemical agents. This person was here to create problems. Our local police officers and deputies said, we noticed cars with out-of-county and out-of-state plates. We saw that the antagonists that were at Florida and the Boulevard, the ones that were generating the energy, were not our local folks. They came here to do nothing but create problems. Well, the difference is we're not going to accept that in this community. I want to show you this picture. You see the guy standing on top of the car? This red car supposedly bumped into or hit a protester standing in the middle of the road. We still don't know who that protester is. The city police have said over and over and over, if you were the victim, if you were hit, come forward and we'll investigate. There is no victim. But the man standing on the top of this car with the window smashed in is not a protester. He's a rioter. That's evil and it's criminal and it's wrong. Even if the person in the vehicle intentionally struck the victim, you still don't respond with this kind of conduct. But at the end of the day, there's not even a victim of this alleged person that was hit by the red car, which apparently was caught up and may very well have been fearful for their life and was simply trying to get out of the way. But we don't know that because we don't have the other side of the story from that particular victim. Come forward and we'll investigate. But this is unacceptable and will not have it. In addition to Lakeland last night, there was information that we were going to come under attack at Posner Park in the area of I-4 and 27 at about 8 p.m. Well, as you can very well understand, that we had resources there, and a very few cars showed up. When they showed up, we were there first, and we stopped that few cars. We made one arrest, several cars fled. The Highway Patrol did a marvelous job, absolute marvelous job, and they chased down and arrested a few more. But the message is clear. You come here to peaceably assemble and protest, we're going to make sure that we protect your constitutional right to do that, and we encourage it. But for those that want to come in stealthily among those wonderful people who were simply making their position known, the ones that tried to infiltrate, we're going to hunt you down and lock you up if you engage in any criminal conduct. Now, before I turn it over to two of our community folks that I have known, if you look at this community and you said, of Lakeland, you say, who is responsible for leaving it better than they found it when they came? It's certainly Reverend Arthur Johnson and Don Brown. But before I have them speak, let me tell you that under the power of the sheriff, we are going to extend the curfew one more night. We'll begin at 8 p.m. this evening, and it will last until 5 in the morning. The reason for that is clear. We've had criminal conduct afoot. We've had citizens injured. We've had windows broken. And we've had other attempts at assaulting law enforcement officers and assaulting buildings that we repelled. And there are curfews in other communities, and certainly we don't want to create a vacuum for people to come here when there's a curfew in another area. I've spoken with the mayor of Lakeland and the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners and shared with them that under the authority of the sheriff, constitutional authority of the sheriff, that I would extend still one more night that curfew. Make no misunderstanding. If you're coming home from work or you're trying to get to work or you need to go to the hospital, this curfew is not for you. It's for those lawless people that would wreak havoc in the communities. We've also received information on social media. Now, first and foremost, I don't accept or on face value anything in social media. But we have received information in social media that some of the criminals were going to take their criminal conduct into the neighborhoods. I would tell them, if you value your life, you probably shouldn't do that in Polk County, because the people of Polk County like guns. They have guns. I encourage them to own guns, and they're going to be in their homes tonight with their guns loaded. And if you try to break into their homes to steal, to set fires, I'm highly recommending they blow you back out of the house with their guns. So leave the community alone. And we'll do our best to support the community. But ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. All of that ugliness has taken away from what we're united about. We're united about the conduct that you saw with George, where his life was taken with a knee to the neck, is horrific, and there's not enough words to explain that. Let's keep the focus on that. Let's keep the focus on him as the victim, and on our need to not only be accountable as professional law enforcement agencies across this country, but for the community to also help us be accountable. So with that, Reverend Johnson.
Thank you, Sheriff Judd. It's such a pleasure to be here. I am Pastor Arthur Johnson at St. Luke's Ministries. Sheriff Judd have already expressed his feelings. I want to express my feelings. Let's start by saying, first of all, I am extremely angry. I am angry at what happened to George Floyd. So angry that I'm doing something that I want everybody to know. I'm going to take my anger and show you just how angry I am. The angrier I get, the closer I get to law enforcement, to let you know that we are unified. We are unified in such a way that we are not going to stand idle and see anyone come in and take this event and now burn down this neighborhood. That's not the way you show your anger. You show your anger by unity. And this day and time, we must unify ourselves in such a great way. We've been doing it for years here at Polk County, showing the unity. St. Luke Ministries have partnered with LPD and the Sheriff Department. Every year, we partner together to feed the community during Thanksgiving time because we have unity there. Make no mistake about it. When I saw what I saw on the tube, my grandkids saw it and they looked at me and said, "Granddaddy, what do we say? What do you say to us when you see someone that's supposed to protect us killing someone on national television?" When you have an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old ask you that question, it's hard to answer the question other than to say, this is not the practice that we should see in any capacity, especially in law enforcement. So my anger is, the more you try to make us be divided, the more we're going to come closer to law enforcement. We have a great relationship with the Polk County Sheriff Department. We have a great relationship with the LPD, and we're going to continue to band together that if anybody, make no mistake about it, do anything outside of doing what they should do, and that is protect and to serve, we will be there to let you know we're not going to tolerate it. And as far as destroying property, no. We're asking you, all the people in Lakeland, throughout Polk County, band together, show your anger in unity. Together we stand, divided we fall. God bless you.
I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone. My name is Don Brown. I'm a community advocate and activist. As we have all witnessed over the last several days, the horrific events that's happening all over this country, we need to realize one thing. And following a pastor speak, I'm going to get a little biblical right now and expressing my disdainment of what has happened. When we allow those who are entrusted to protect and serve to invade this earthly tabernacle and loot our souls, it is unforgivable. Unforgivable. So I want us first to know my sentiment about law enforcement doing that. As a whole, I have a relationship with law enforcement basically around this state. I don't have a problem with you doing your duty, but when we take it upon ourselves to do harm without necessarily investigating what has happened, I have a problem with that. So I make no apologies for what I'm saying to you right now. Now, as far as people going out throughout this country, looting, I don't condone that at all. I own a lot of property. I don't like no one taking anything from me. There was once upon a time, even with my children living in my house, they had to get permission to go in my refrigerator. You don't take nothing from me. So I just don't believe in that, because you can ask for what I have. So I'm pleading with everyone around this nation, stop the looting, stop burning up your own neighborhoods, making deserts out of where you live, meaning that you have to go farther to get the necessities of life. And we must take into consideration we already have 40 million people gainfully unemployed. And that adds to the stress. And some people are utilizing this in order to go out and try to justify and rationalize the looting. That's foolishness. I don't condone killing anyone. have never killed anyone, but I've buried a whole lot of people in my days. A whole lot of people I have buried professionally. And I'm still in the profession of burying people. Brought my favorite mortician with me today to be with me, Mr. Cannon. So I want you to understand that. So police officers, do your duty. I'm with you as long as you're doing it and not taking lives, and as we say sometimes, under the color of law. God bless you.
We'll certainly stand for any questions now if you have them.
Chief, I saw some video a little while ago of a man on top of an LPD car on a hood. The video was cut short at the beginning. I couldn't tell if LPD had hit him or if the guy had jumped on to the hood. Do you know anything about that?
Yes, that was during our first time up into the intersection to try to get the assembly to disperse. Gentleman jumped up on the hood of the car. As the officers tried to leave the area the first time, he came off the hood of the car, and we have yet to identify him. We're still searching to identify him.
Chief, I spoke today with the organizer of the protest, who, as you know, her big priority was to have a peaceful protest. She told me she's upset with Lakeland police for not responding quickly once everything moved from Oak Park to the police station and to Memorial Boulevard. What do you have to say to that tactic?
I would say that our tactics were well thought out and well measured, and certainly done in the hopes of preserving everyone's First Amendment right. For us to respond as quick as some may think we should have would have been to inflame the situation, and we've seen that occur time and time again throughout the nation. And sometimes the police needs to respond when it's time for the police to respond. Time and time again you hear you had such a big police presence over, I don't know, I'll say selling untaxed cigarettes, or I'll say driving with license suspended. And how did that lead to someone's death? Well, here in this county, we try to measure all of that and not overreact and have a larger police presence than needed. And I believe our tactics yesterday and our response was very measured and at the appropriate time.
Are y'all expecting any more protests this evening, or should people feel safe this evening that everything's gonna be fine? Y'all had any threats or anything like that?
We're constantly monitoring social media and other raw intelligence as it comes in. We have some concerns that, as the sheriff spoke of earlier, that we have picked up some social media chatter, if you will, that folks may be encouraging people to go into neighborhoods. I would certainly echo those sentiments. That would not be a good move for anyone to consider that in this county, particularly in this city. I do not believe the residents will stand for that. We're certainly hoping for a peaceful evening. We're certainly prepared if those choose not to have it that way.
Chief, first of all, were there any arrests made last night at Florida Memorial? Secondly, I saw you quoted on one of the TV stations saying there was an entry in Lakeland last night, and can you expand on that?
I don't know about an entry in Lakeland. So,
Okay. Were there any arrests last night?
the Lakeland Police Department arrested 2 folks in regards to that, that had spilled out of that intersection, blocks away from that intersection.
Do you guys anticipate having to go into neighborhoods again, like you had to do last night with the sheriff's office? I mean, you guys had to push your way into some neighborhoods and get people to disperse.
Yes, we're certainly prepared to have to do that. It's certainly our hopes that we don't have to do that. We'd much rather get back to business as normal of us going into the neighborhoods, building neighborhoods instead of folks trying to tear neighborhoods down.
This is for either the sheriff or the chief. I think in the last couple of weeks, given what happened in Georgia and what happened in Minneapolis, we all see the power of video. There were some signs of the protest yesterday asking for the sheriff's office to have body cameras. We know what the sheriff has said in the past, but I didn't know if that has changed now.
It has had not changed at the Lakeland Police Department. I don't want to speak for the sheriff's office. I'll let the sheriff speak for himself. But we still continue, like any other police technology, to monitor that. And as it becomes an item that we can use and not be cost prohibitive, we will continue to consider it. But at this point in time, it's not within our equipment. You want to add to that, sir?
Well, you know, not only do I agree with the chief, but I have to say this clearly and unequivocally, so you can go get some of my past video, or you can use my same quotes this time. Body cameras don't point at us. They point at you, number one. Number two, the government does not have a right to put a body camera on and walk into your house and photograph the sanctuary where you should be safest, where you should feel the most comfortable. The government doesn't have a right to do that. Number three, it's a huge tax burden. It's a multi-million-dollar tax burden so that the government can record you in your most private times, in your most private places. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not for that, and I'm not going to have them. But here's the solution. Everybody that's got one of these has got a camera. You take your own pictures if you want pictures. That way it's pointed at us and not pointed at you. And then you can pay for the camera, and you can take the pictures, and you can store it, and you can keep track of it, and you can keep maintenance of it. We're not going to do that. And that should be along the lines of the exact quotes that I've given you before, and I've not changed my mind.
Yes, ma'am. Two of the arrests were kind of in conjunction with the protest at Posner Park. We had two troopers get into a pursuit on North US 27. We had a DUI arrest as a result of a pursuit on 98 this morning. We chased the individual into the city. She crashed, and LPD was right there manning a post and was able to apprehend them. And Orange County chased two burglary suspects, crossed I-4 into Polk County, called for assistance, and they broke off the pursuit. And one of my troopers happened to come across the vehicle, stopped, and made two arrests with no issues, but only one related to the protest.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.